Welcome to FAME Academy. Today we are going to learn pigeonhole principle. Pigeonhole principle is important principle in mathematics and it have many amazing wonderful applications. Pigeonhole principle, there are some pigeons and there are some pigeonholes, and we have to place pigeons into pigeonholes. So suppose we have to place three pigeons into two pigeonholes, friends. Then let us try to place pigeons in such a way that no pigeon contain more than one pigeon. So let us try to place three pigeons. So first goes here. Now second we should not place into first because it will contain then more than one pigeon. So we place second into this. In this, now third pigeons goes in one of these pigeonholes because there is no empty pigeonholes. So if we place these third pigeons into second, then clearly it is observed that at least one of the pigeonhole contain more than one pigeons. Similarly, friends, according to pigeonholes, if more than n pigeons are there, and we have to place it into n pigeons, then more than n pigeons are placed into n pigeonholes, then there must at least one pigeonhole that will contain more than one pigeons, friends. This is the generalized version of pigeonhole principle. Not generalized, but this is the pigeonhole principle, friends. So here is proof. Proof is obvious, friends. We have more than n pigeons and we have to place it into n pigeonholes. So in worst case scenario, let us try to violate pigeonhole principle and place first pigeon in first pigeonholes. Then second goes in one of the empty pigeonholes. So now third, fourth, and in this manner nth goes here. So friends, n pigeons we have placed n pigeons in n pigeonholes in this manner, and now every pigeonhole contain one pigeons. So now there are more than n pigeons. So remaining pigeon, let us pick one of the remaining pigeons and try to place into. Now remaining pigeons goes in one of these pigeonholes. Suppose it goes in here, and clearly we see that at least one of the pigeonholes contain more than one pigeons, and this is the proof, friends. This is the empirical or logical proof. In general, if we have m pigeons, where m is integer, friends, because pigeons cannot be half, one third, fractional. So if there are m pigeons and n pigeonholes, if m pigeons are placed into n pigeonholes, then at least one of the pigeonhole contain m divided by n, that is cell of m divided by n, and this means least integer greater than or equal to m by n. Example friends, floor of shell of 4.5 means least integer greater than 4.5. So 4.5, least integer greater than 4.5 is 5. So this is 5. And shell of m divided by n means least integer greater than or equal to m by n. So friends, here greater than or equal to sign is there. So integer greater than or equal to m by n. So according to this pigeonhole principle, if 3 pigeons are there and 2 pigeonholes are there, then we can clearly see that at least one of the pigeonholes contain 3 shell of 3 divided by 2, and that is least integer greater than or equal to 3 by 2, that is 1.5, and that is the 2. So at least one of the pigeonhole contain 2 pigeons. Similarly, if there are 7 pigeons and there are 7 pigeons and 6 pigeonholes, let us not take 6 but 4 pigeonholes, then at least one of the pigeon contain least integer greater than or equal to 7 divided by 4, that is shell of 7 divided by 4. That is friends, shell of 7 divided by 4. 7 divided by 4 is nothing but 1.75, and least integer greater than or equal to this is nothing but 2 friends. So at least one will contain 2 pigeons. Similarly, if there are 13 pigeons and pigeons holes are 3, then at least one of the pigeons contain shell of 13 divided by 3, that is friends 13 divided by 3 is nothing but 4.33, so on. Now least integer greater than or equal to 4.33 is nothing but friends 5. So at least one of these contains 5 pigeons. So in worst case scenario, first pigeon goes here, second goes here, third goes here, fourth goes here, fifth goes here, sixth goes here, 7, 8, 9, and 11 goes here. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7, 8, 9. Now 10, 11, 12. And if we place 13th pigeon in any one of these, then clearly that pigeonhole contain 5 pigeons friends. Similarly, there are 12 pigeons and 4 pigeonholes. In at least one of, according to pigeonhole principle, at least one of the pigeonhole must contain 12 divided by 4. Least integer greater than or equal to 12 divided by 4. Now 12 divided by 4 is 3, and least integer greater than or equal to 3 is nothing but 3 itself. So at least one of the pigeonhole contain 3, and it is clearly seen. 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. Now at least one of the contain 3 pigeons. Now what are the applications? So let us understand its some application. There is a hall and more than 400 people are there. In a hall there are more than 400 people are there. Now then at least two people will have same people will have same birthday, that means friends, here same birthday means their date and month birth month and day of the month will be same, friends. Now in year there are 365 days. Now if we 365 days means any people can have one of the day from 365 as its birthday. So if there are exactly 365 people, then and they all have distinct different birthday. Now if we consider one more person, then it will have one of these day as birthday. So thus more than 365, if there are more than 365 people, then they share same birthday, they will share same birthday, and they will have same birthday in a year on same day. Now in 52 pack of 52 cards, friends, playing card. There are 4 suits, friends, and each suit contain 13 cards. That means there are 4 suits. So if we pick 5 cards, then at least 2 of them will be of same suit. So there are 4. Now there are 4 suits. So if 5 cards are picked out from 52 cards, then picked out from 52 cards, then at least shell of least integer greater than or equal to 5 by 4, that is least integer greater than or equal to 1.25, and that is, friends, 2. So at least 2 of them will be of same suits. So suppose first we picked from first, second picked from second, third picked from third, and fourth picked from fourth suit. Now how we can pick fifth card? So we have to pick it from one of these, and clearly if we pick it from this, then fifth and third card will be of same suits. And in this manner, this is the proofs, friends. Similarly, pigeonholes principle. By using pigeonholes principle, friends, we can prove that inverse of, that is 1 divided by prime number, inverse of prime number greater than 5 is a recurring decimal, friends. So this can be also proved by using pigeonhole principle. So how? 1 divided by 7. Let us take this 1 divided by 7. Now in traditional mathematics, what we do, here 0 0 0 0 so on. Now for dividing 7, what we consider here, first we divide 1 by 1 is less than 7, so 0 comes here division. Now 1 becomes remainder, then divide 10, this remainder we append it to this. So 10 divided by 7, the quotient write down here, and then we write remainder here. So similarly 30 divided by 7, 4 write down here, and remainder comes 2. We append it to, we attach it before the next zeros, friends, and in this manner we continue. Now if we divide any integer by 7, then what remainder it will leave? It will leave remainder out of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6. Thus there are 6 standard remainders are there. So friends, if we consider this, this part here remainder goes. So if we consider such 7 spot, then at least one of the, at least one remainder will repeat, that is 7 divided by 7. Now why, friends? Here friends, or we can say at least 8 spot. Let us take here 8 spot, then it is clearly 8 divided by 7. So which is least integer greater than or equal to 8 divided by 7 is 2. So at least 2 spot will have same reminders, print. So once R1 and RJ, the first part and jth place have same reminder, that is R1 equal to RJ, then friends here 1 by 7 equal to 0.01. Now how we can obtain the next remainder? So there is way. Next remainder is 3. So for obtaining next remainder, what we do? This remainder 1 into, this is 10, friends, and we have to, for next remainder how comes? So 10 mod 7, that is 10 divided by 7. Remainder of 10 divided by 7 is nothing but this standard 3. So 10 divided by 7 we have to do, and 10, this is nothing but this remainder 1 into, when it is appended by zeros in decimal number system, then its value becomes 10 times, and in this manner we get next remainder as 3, friends. So here 10 replaced by 3, because 10 divided by 7 gives remainder 3, and replacing each number by its remainder we get next remainder, friends. Now similarly, friends, next remainder after R1 is what? So if Ri and Rj remainder repeats, then Ri equal to Rj. Now these are standard reminders, friends, and if next remainder after Ri will be Ri into 10 mod 7, Ri into 10 mod 7, and similarly, friends, next remainder after Rj is Rj into 10 mod 7. Now since Ri and Rj are equal, so the next remainder after Ri, that is Ri plus 1, and Rj plus 1 will also be equal. So Ri equal to Rj implies, friends, Ri plus 1 next remainder equal to Rj plus 1. And similarly, this implies again Ri plus 2 equal to Rj plus 2. So on. In this manner, friends, 1 by 7 equal to 0. Now here remainder 1. Now then 10 mod 7 is 3, and then 30 mod 7 is 2, and then 20 mod 7 is 6, and then 60 mod 7 is 4, and then 40 mod 7 is 5, and then 50 mod 7 is 1. And then, friends, again here 50 mod 7 is 1. Now here there is no place, so let us here write down 50 mod 7 is 1, and then 10 again 10 mod 7 is 30. And in this manner, here once this place will have same remainder, then friends, next place also will have same remainder. So next place after this and next place also after this also contains same remainder, and thus remainder repeats in. So remainder repeats when we divide 1 by prime number greater than or equal to greater than 5, friends. So now what is the quotient of this? Quotient of this is nothing but simply this remainder 1 into 10, and let us it is comes as q1, and this is nothing but remainder second remainder into 10 divided by 7, q2, and this is third remainder divided by 7, q3, and this is fourth remainder into 10 divided by 7. So fourth remainder is 6 into 10, 60, and it becomes 60 divided by 7. In this manner we get fourth quotient, and so on up to, friends, here is sixth quotient. Now 10 divided by 7, and this also contains 10 divided by 7, friends, so q7, and 30 divided by 7, and this also gives 30 divided by 7 as q8. Thus, friends, q1 and q7, q2 and q8, q3 and q9, q4 and q10, so on. Repeat these digits, and in this way, if reminders are repeated, then its quotient digits are also going to repeats. So remainder are repeated, then digits in its value, that is digits in value of 1 by 7 also get repeated. So 1 by 7 get repeated. Therefore it's proves that, friends, it proves digit after decimal point in value of 1 by 7 repeats infinitely, friends. So example 14, 14, 28, 5, 7, again comes 14, 28, 5, 7, and so on, and five, 7, so on. This pattern continues, and 0.14287, and thus, friends, this is written as in this manner. There is another proof, simple algebraic proof also, algebraic or arithmetical proof is also there. So how can we prove that? Inverse of prime number, where p is not equal to 2 or 5 is recurring. Is recurring. So for proving, according to fundamental law of arithmetic, every number is either prime number or it can be, every natural number is either a prime number or it can be written as the multiplication of prime numbers, friends. Example 14, we can write it as 2 into 7. Similarly 15, we can write it as 3 into 7, 3 into 5. Now 15, 3 into 5. And consider 16. 60 is nothing but, friends, 2. Now 30 is remaining. 30 divided by 2, 50 is remaining. So 50 is nothing but, it is not divided by, so 3, 15 divisible by 3, so 3 into 5. And in this manner it can be written in the form of product of prime numbers. So these numbers contain 2 times 2, this numbers factor contains 2 times 2, and 3 times 1, 5 times 1, friends. Now if we observe, 60 is perfectly divisible by 3 into 5 if and only if its prime factorization will have at least 1 3 and at least 1 5. So its prime factor, if we consider write it as the product of prime numbers. So friends, here factor 3 multiplied 5 times to itself and 5 multiplied 1 times to itself. Thus it have at least one factor as a 3 and at least one factor as a 5. So 60 is perfectly divisible by 15, friends. So now check, 15 is 3 into 5 and 100 is nothing but, friends, 2 into 2 into 5 into 5. Now is 100 perfectly divisible by 15? So if 100, for that 100 should contain at least one 5, and there is at least one 5, but also it should also contain at least one 3, so as a factor. So here, but here 3 is not a factor, so 100 is not perfectly divisible by 15, friends. Now if we consider any prime number greater than 5, friends, or prime number except 2 and 5, then its prime factorization is definitely p, friends. P itself is a prime. Now 10 nothing but 10 to the power n is nothing but 2 to the power n into 5 to the power n. Now 10 raised to n will be perfectly divisible by p if and only if its factorization, if p is the factor of this and p will be factor of this, if and only if one of its factor is p. So one of its factor, now its factor, now none of these factor contains p as factor. So friends, it is not perfectly divisible by p. And friends, that means when 10 raised to n divided by p does not gives remainder as 0, friends, and this is the case, does not gives remainder as 0. So when 10 raised to n divided by p then remainder, it does not gives remainder as 0, so except 0 it can gives other remainder depending on value of n. So what are the possible remainders? 1, 2, 3, 4, so on, p minus 1. These are the standard remainder, but 0 cannot be there because 10 raised to n for n greater than 1, for n greater than 0 natural number, for when n is natural number friends, then 10 raised to n is never going to be perfectly divisible by prime number except 2 and 5 friends, excluding 2 and 5. So prime number greater than 5, this is always true, or p is not 2 and 5, then also true. So 0 cannot be remainder, sir. So there are p minus 1 remainder are there. Now if we consider friends 1 by 7, then for calculating, how we can calculate the 4 digits of this, 4 digit after decimal point? So for that we can consider 10 raised to 4 divided by 7 and 1 by 10 raised to 4. Now for calculating 4 digits after decimal point, we divide 10 raised to 4 by 7, and dividing by 10 raised to 4 by 7, we get here 4 digits friends, and remainder will be 10 raised to 4 mod 7. 4 mod 7. Mod 7. So what are the 4 digit? And if we divide 10 raised to 4 by 7, then it gives 28 as the quotient friends. Now friends, according to Fermat's little theorem, a raised to n mod p, where a and p are co-prime to each other, then a raised to p minus 1 mod p is always 1 friends. So 10 and 7 are co-prime to each other, so we can say 10 raised to 7 minus 1, that is 6 mod 10 is going to be 1 friends. So reminder, so and what is mean by this? And if we divide 1 by 7, then 1.0000000. Here first remainder is nothing but friends 1 mod 7, that is 1. And according to Fermat little friends, here second remainder, then third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and this remainder is nothing but 10 mod 7 and 100 mod 7, 1000 mod 7, and here goes 10,000 mod 7, and here 1 lakh mod 7. So friends, if we consider these places, so first remainder is friends 1, we divide 1 by 7 and it is 0 point. So remainder is 1. We attach it before the next zeros, friends, next digit. So this is nothing but 1 remainder is nothing but, friends, remainder of 1 divided by 7, that is 1 mod 7, that is 1 now. Now next remainder is obtained by this 10 mod 7. So next remainder is, friends, 3. And similarly here for this we have to calculate 10 raised to 2 mod 7. So this contains 10 raised to 2, and here 10 raised to 3 mod 7, and here 10 raised to 4 mod 7, here 10 raised to 5 mod 7, and here comes 10 raised to 6 mod 7. But according to Fermat-Little's theorem, 10 raised to 6 mod 7 is nothing but, friends, 1. So here remainder going to be again 1, and thus this remainder and this remainder are same. So remainder after this is nothing but, friends, this previous remainder 1 into, when it is this remainder appended by 0, then it becomes 10 times, and when we calculate 1 into 10 mod 7, then we get next remainder. Similarly here remainder is also 1. So remainder after these places, that is whatever 0 is there, and next remainder will be in this manner, friends. So what is the next remainder after this? That is 7th remainder, friends. This is, if we consider, is R0, R1, R2, R3, R4, R5, R6, then R7. Remainder 7th will be this remainder, that is 6th remainder appended by 0, that means 1 into 10 mod 7. Mod 7 means calculating remainder of 1 into 10 divided by 7. Now these are the going to same, because these going to same. Thus if remainder here and here repeats, then remainder after that are also going to be repeats, friends. Thus when we divide 1 by prime number excluding 2 and 5, then remainder get repeated after certain point, and that recur infinitely. Therefore the quotient calculated from remainder appending 0 to remainder divided by that prime number is also going to be repeated, friends, and that means digit after decimal point in quotient, digit after decimal point going to repeat, and this is the proof, friends. Or 1 by 9 is, friends, 0.1111, so on. 2 by 9 is, friends, 0.222, so on, and 3 by 9 is 0.3333, so on infinitely. Similarly 9 by 9 is, we can see 0.9999, so on. Now friends, according to Fermat-Little's theorem, 10 and p are co-prime to each other, so we can say 10 raised to p minus 1 mod p is going to leave remainder as 1. That means when we divide this 10 raised to p by p, it gives remainder as 1. So that means the number 1 less than 10 raised to p minus 1 is perfectly going to be perfectly divisible by p, because friends, if this leaves remainder 1, then its previous number divided by p gives remainder. Here remainder before 1 is 0, going to 0. Thus it leaves remainder 0, so it is perfectly divisible by p. Example friends, 10 raised to 7 minus 1 mod 6 mod 7 friends gives remainder 1 according to Fermat-Little theorem. So that means 10 raised to 6 mod 7 gives remainder as 1. So 10 raised to 6 minus 1 mod 7 gives remainder as 0, means 10 raised to 6 minus 1 is perfectly divisible by 7 friends. 10 raised to 6 minus 1 is perfectly, and 10 raised to 6 minus 1 is nothing but 9 6 times. Now 1 divided by 7 can be written as friends 0.99999 so on, because clearly we previously learned that 9 by 9 is nothing but 0.9999 infinitely, and we already know 10 raised to 6 minus 1 is perfectly divisible by 7. So let us group this 0.99999 and then 99 so on. Now up to this point, if we divide by 7, now these are going to be perfectly divisible by 7. So here comes 6 digit from this, q1 q2 q3 so on, q6 6 digit comes as a quotient, and remainder is 0 friends, so 0 get appended here. Now again consider 0 appended by 6 nines, so that also gives, and when we 0 appended by 6 nines means again these are going to be 6 digit 9 nines, and when we divided by 7 again it gives same quotient friends, q1 q2 q3 q4 q5 q6, and thus we can easily see that the digit after decimal point in 1 by 7 recur, so it is a recurring decimal point and recurring decimal. Similarly we can prove 1 by p. So 1 by p 10 raised to p minus 1, when we divide 10 raised to p minus 1 by p, it gives remainder as 1. That means 10 raised to p minus 1, that means 10 raised to p minus 1 is perfectly divisible by p minus 1 minus 1, and this is nothing but 9999 p times friends, p times. This is going to be perfectly divisible by p because it leaves remainder 0. So we can consider friends 1 by p as 0.9999, here p times, again 999, p times, and so on. So 1 can be written as 0.999 infinite times so, and we made group of p digit, p nines. Now let us divide it by p. Now this is going to be perfectly divisible by p, and it gives p minus 1 digits friends. So these are nothing but p minus 1 nines, and this also p minus 1 nines friends. So when we this is perfectly divisible by p, so we get p minus 1 digits friends, q1 q2 q3 so on, q p minus 1. Now 0, so it is perfectly divisible by p, so it leaves remainder 0. And next we similarly divide 0 appended by next p minus 1 9 digits. Then we also, then it is nothing but 999 p minus 1 times. So similar to this is also going to be perfectly divisible by p. So 999 p minus 1 times when we divide it by p, then it also gives again q1, q2, q3, so on, qp minus 1. And this goes forever. And in this manner we can say no matter whatever be the prime number, then its digit definitely going to recur after pth place onward. So it can recur earlier also, but it is definitely going to recur after pth place onward. So inverse of 1 by p is nothing but recurring decimal, friends. And this completes our proof. Example 1 by 7 recur after 7th digit. So 1, 4, 2, 8, 5, 7. These are the 6 digit and then 7 digit. Similarly 1 by 3 recur after second digit. So going to recur after second digit definitely. So this is the first digit of the quotient and this is the second digits of the quotient. So 1 by 3 is definitely going to recur third digit after third digit definitely, friends. So this in this manner. And if we consider 30 30, it all contain 3, so we can write it as 0 3 dot. So here least period is 1 because so repeating part contains only one digit, so least period is 1. Now this 1 perfectly divides 3 minus 1, because if it does not divide 3 minus 1, then digits or group of digits are not going to recur after third place onward. So one must divide 3 minus 1. So 1 by 17. Now 1 by 70 is nothing but, friends, are definitely going to repeat after 7th digit onward, 17 digit onward. Now for calculating least period, means the number of digits in repeating units, friends, least repeating units. So what is meant by repeating unit? 1 divided by 7 is 0.142857. 1482857. These are repeated infinitely, so we call this as a repeating part or repeating units. So there are 6 digits, so and this is the list, so this can also be taken as a repeating unit, but out of this is the list, so we call number of digit in this as the least recurring period. That means after 6 digit it recur. Similarly 1 divided by 3, so 0.3333, so on. Here 33 can be taken as a recurring unit, or 333 can be taken as 3333, but 3 is the least such repeating unit and number of digit in it is 1, and we call it as period, least recurring periods, friends, and it is 1. And this 1 is always perfectly divisible by, so this 1 is always factor of p minus 1. Here p is 3, so 3 minus 1, that is 2. So for finding least recurring digit, we should check whether for finding recurring digits of least recurring period of 1 by p, we have to take the factor of p minus 1. Consider all factor of p minus 1 and starting from largest factor, check whether, friends, or largest or smaller factor, starting from smaller factor, check whether if n is the factor c, check whether 10 raised to n mod p gives remainder 1 or not, and if it gives, then declare n as the least recurring period. Example, friends, 1 by 17. Now for or 1 by 13. Now 12, 13 minus 1 is nothing but 12. So factor of 12 are nothing but, friends, 2, 3, 4, 6 and 12 itself. Now we check whether 10 raised to 2 mod 13. 10 raised to 2 mod 13 is nothing but, friends, 100 divided by 13 gives remainder as 9. Now 9 is not equal to 1, so 2 cannot be least recurring period. That means from second place onward, after second place onward, digits are not going to recur. Starting from third place onward, digits are not going to recur. This is mean. So we consider next. So 10 raised to 3 mod 13. Now 10 raised to 3 mod 13 is nothing but 10 raised to 2 into 10 mod 13. Now 10 raised to 2 can be replaced by its remainder 9 into 10, 90 mod 13. Now 90 divided by 30 is definitely gives remainder as 12, or we can consider 12 minus 30 equal to minus 1 as the remainder. So 10 raised to 30 mod 10 raised to 3 mod 13 gives remainder as minus 1. And if we multiply 10 raised to 3 into 10 raised to 3 mod 13, then take its remainder, then replace each number by remainder, that is minus 1. 10 raised to 3 mod 13 is nothing but minus 1. Again 10 raised to 3 mod 13 is nothing but minus 1. So minus 1 into minus 1 mod 13 is nothing but plus 1 mod 13 means 1. So 10 raised to 3 into 10 raised to 3 means 10 raised to 6 mod 13 is coming 1. And before that 10 raised to 3 mod 13, that is half of it, is also not equal to 1, but it is minus 1. So friends, here we say 1 is our least recurring period. Sorry, 6 is our least recurring period. That means length of the repeating part, that is number of digits in least recurring unit, contain 6 digits. So if we write 1 by 13, then we clearly see 076923. Again 076923 comes, and this part get repeated, and so this is the least recurring unit, and number of digit in it is nothing but 6. And in this manner we can we can determine least recurring units, friends. Thanks for watching. For more such video, subscribe our channel. Thank you.